Hello, grade 11. So, for today, this is a continuation of still the conic section. But this time, we are going to learn the parabola. So, in this lesson, you are expected to first define parabola, second, illustrate parabola, third is solve equations involving parabola, determine the equation of the different kinds of conic sections, graph a parabola given an equation in vertex form, and to solve real-life or situational problems involving conic sections. So same with circles, I will divide the topics into subtopics so that unti-unti marami kayong matutunan. So let us now proceed. So in figure 2.1, as you can see on the screen, we have here parabolas in a glass. So, when liquid is rotated, the forces of gravity result in the liquid forming a parabola-like shape. The most common example is when you stir up orange juice in a glass by rotating it round its axis. The juice level rises around the edges while falling slightly in the center of the glass or the axis. Another example of rotating liquids is the whirlpool. Parabola can be seen anywhere, even in your own house. You might not observe it, but looking at your everyday living and lifestyles, you can take a glimpse of parabola. Take a look at other figures here. Can you describe parabola? Parabola is another type of conic section. Like the circle, a parabola is formed when a plane parallel to the generator of the cone intersects the cone. So let us explore what parabola is. A parabola is the set of all points in a plane that are equidistant or distant from a fixed line called the directrix and a fixed point of the plane known as the focus. It has four possible openings: upward, downward, to the right, and to the left. The line that passes through the focus and is perpendicular to the directrix is called the axis of symmetry, while the point where the parabola intersects with its axis of symmetry is called the vertex. It is the point midway between the latus rectum and the directrix. To determine the width of parabola's opening, we find or determine the length of its latus rectum. Latus rectum is the line segment that passes through the focus of parabola and it's perpendicular to the axis of symmetry. So let us see the parts of a parabola. So in this figure, this is the graph of a parabola. So the line D here is the directrix and point F is the focus of the parabola. So another is the segment PD. So the segment PD from the directrix to the parabola and segment FP from the parabola to the focus have equal lengths. Okay? So other thing is that the lowest or highest point of a parabola is referred to as its vertex HK. The axis of symmetry of a parabola is the line that passes through the vertex and is perpendicular to the directrix. In this figure, point V is our vertex and line M is the axis of symmetry of the parabola. So let us now proceed on transforming the equation of a parabola from general form to standard form. You already heard this during our lesson in circle. They also have the general and the standard form. So for the parabola, the standard equation is x minus h quantity squared is equal to 4a multiplied by quantity y minus k. And or we also can use the baliktarin natin. We have the y minus k quantity squared is equal to 4a multiplied by quantity x minus h. So same on the general equations, it can be started in x squared or in y squared. So for dx, we have x squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equal to 0. And for y, we have y squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equal to 0. Note that e or def are simply constant. Okay, so let us now follow the steps in transforming the equation of a parabola. So first is, we need to group the terms with the same variables. Second, move the remaining terms to the right side of the equation. Third is, we need to create a perfect square trinomial by completing the squares. This actually, you learned this during your grade 9 in quadratic equation, similar to that. So note that whatever terms you have added to the left side should also be added to the right side to keep the equation true. And step number 4 is to simplify the both sides of the equations. And lastly, you need to express the perfect square trinomials as square of binomials to make the equation in the vertex form. So this is like in general equation or general form to the standard form. So let's have examples. Number 1 is that we have y squared minus 4x minus 12y plus 28 is equal to 0. So as stated in our first step is that we need to group the terms with the same variables. So y squared and minus 12y have the same variable of y. And so we are going to separate now the 4x and 28. So we have here y squared minus 12y is equal to positive 4x minus 28 because we transpose the remaining terms to the right side because they don't have any same variables, just like y squared minus 12y, which is y. So yun, transpose natin si negative 4x at plus 28 or positive 28, so they became 4x minus 28. Now the third step is that for you to create a perfect square trinomial by completing the squares. So as you can see, we have here y squared minus 12y plus blank. That is for the third part, okay, to create this perfect square trinomial. Then we have 4x minus 28 plus blank. So how do we get the third term? So simply look at the middle term. So our middle term is negative 12y and the constant there is 12. So simply, just like what I taught you last time, simply divide 12 by 2 and that is 6, and you need to find the square of 6, which is 36. So you need to add 36 on both sides of the equation. So lastly, simply simplify this and express the perfect square trinomials as square of binomials to make the equation in the vertex form. So we have here y minus 6 quantity squared, because when you multiply y minus 6 by y minus 6, even using the shortcut method or the FOIL method, you can get y squared minus 12y plus 36. And we have here negative 28 plus 36 is equal to 8. That's why we have 4x plus 8. So our final answer now is y minus 6 quantity squared is equal to 4 multiplied by x plus 2, because we factor out 4x plus 8. So once again, your knowledge during your junior high school until now will be a great help to solve the parabola or to transform the general equation to standard form of the parabola. So let's move with the second example. We have here y squared minus 6y minus 6x plus 29 is equal to 0. So once again, combine like terms and move the other terms on the right side of the equations. Okay, so we have here y squared minus 6y from negative 6x is equal to, we have 6x, from positive 29 we have minus 29. Next is using the factoring to have a perfect square trinomial. and of course by using the completing the square method. So the middle term or the constant there is negative 6 or simply 6, okay? Then we have 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. And 3 squared or 3 times 3 is equal to 9. That's why we add 9 on both sides of the equations. So we have now to express the perfect square trinomial as the square of binomial. So we have y minus 3 quantity squared. So once again, that using the FOIL method or the shortcut method, you can find y squared minus 6y plus 9 out of that binomial. Okay, so we have y minus 3 quantity squared is equal to 6. Once again, we use our knowledge in factoring. So we have 6 multiplied by quantity x minus 10 over 3. So the next is we have for number 3. For number 3, we have x squared plus 18x minus 8y plus 81 is equal to 0. Let us simply use the steps or apply the steps that you learn from 1 and 2. So we have, once again, x squared plus 18x. Transpose the other terms to the right side. So we have is equal to 8y minus 81. Next is to find the perfect square trinomial. So that is 18 divided by 2, once again, is equal to 9. Then 9 times 9 is equal to 81. So add 81 on both sides. So cancel out na yun sa right side. So we have to simplify or express the perfect square trinomial to a binomial, okay, or square of a binomial. So we have x plus 9 quantity squared is simply equal to 8y. So that's how we transform a general form of the parabola to the standard form. Now, let us proceed to transforming the equation of a parabola from standard form to general form. So let us only follow 4 steps. Step 1 is to square the binomial and expand. Step 2 is to place all the terms to the left side of the equation. Step 3 is to simplify the equation by combining all like terms. And step number 4 is to write the equation in general form. So let's have examples. Number 1 is that we have y minus 2 quantity squared is equal to negative 24x minus 48. So, once again, let us square the binomial. Let us expand this. You can use the FOIL method or you can use the shortcut method that I taught you last time. So, let us use for the meantime the shortcut method. So, square the first term, that is y times y. We got y squared. Next is to add the binomial, then to multiply the binomial, and the product should be multiplied by 2 or the exponent. So, we have y times negative 2 is negative 2y. Negative 2y times 2 is equal to negative 4y. Last is to square the last term. The last term is 2. So, 2 times 2 is equal to 4. So, we have now y squared minus 4y plus 4 is equal to negative 24x minus 28. So, the next thing we need to do is to transpose all the terms to the left side of the equation. That's why we have now y squared minus 4y plus 4 plus 24x from negative siya, di ba, naging positive, then and plus 48 is equal to 0. Don't forget that every time you transpose an equation or a expression, the sign will be changed. So once again, lagi kong pinapaalala, you can use the addition property of equality. However, mas madali para sa nakakarami ang gamitin ang transposition. So now, all you need to do is to simplify the equation by combining all like terms. So, we have y squared. There's no x squared, so only y squared. Next is plus 24x minus 4y, then 4 plus 48 is 52, so we have plus 52 is equal to 0. So that's how we transform the equation of a parabola from the standard form to general form. So let us now have a second example. For our second example, we have x plus 3 quantity squared is equal to negative 8y plus 16. So once again, let us expand the binomial, the square of binomial. X times x, that is x squared. So 3 times x is 3x times 2 is equal to 6x. Next is square the last term. So 3 times 3 is equal to 9. That's why we have x squared plus 6x plus 9 is equal to negative 8y plus 16. Once again po, if you cannot use the shortcut method, if you are confused by it, you can use the FOIL method, the first, outer, inner, or last method. Okay? So next is to transpose all the terms to the left side of the equation. And once again, as I always tell you, once you transpose the terms, the sign will be different. Okay? So it will change. So we have now x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus 8y minus 16 is equal to 0. Then you need to combine all the like terms. That's why we move 9 nakatabi ni minus 16. So we have now to perform the operations. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 8y minus 7 is equal to 0. So that's our answer for number 2. And for the last example, we have x plus 5 quantity squared is equal to 6 multiplied by y minus 3. So once again, let us expand the binomial. So that is x times x or is equal to x squared. Then x times 5 is 5x times 2 is equal to 10x. Lastly, we have 5 times 5 is equal to 25. So we have x squared plus 10x plus 25 is equal to 6 times y using the distributive property. This is actually a common monomial factoring in grade 9. Okay, so you can visit some videos related to completing the squares if you are confused with this. Okay, so we have 6 times y, that is 6y. Then 6 times negative 3, you have negative 18. So we have now 6y minus 18. Next is to transpose all the terms to the left side of the equations. So we have x squared plus 10x plus 25 minus 6y plus 18 is equal to 0. Next is to arrange all the terms in order. And of course, if they have similar terms. So, inasug natin si 25 and 18. So, in this case, our final answer now is x squared plus 10x minus 6y plus 43 is equal to 0. So, for the meantime, that would be the end of our discussion only for transforming general to standard and standard to general form of the equation of a parabola. Okay, so hopefully, once again, you learned something new today, and we will continue the discussion by uploading or by teaching you another lesson in parabola, which is some guidelines and equations to remember about parabola and the upward, downward, right side, and etc. And of course, the standard and general forms of the equation of a parabola with a vertical axis of symmetry. So, hopefully this time, may natutunan po ulit kayo kay Ma'am C kahit papano. So, that would be the end of our discussion for today, and thank you and God bless.